Let's start, because now I'm fired up with your Saskatchewan bashing.
So,
Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is the St. Patty's Day speedster, Bethany McChesney. Even though it's past St. Patty's Day, but it's the last relatable holiday. Whatever. These things are hard
yeah.
sometimes. Leave me alone. So now continue with your Saskatchewan bashing.
Yeah, well, so they just announced that NACAC, which is, and again, I forget the North American Caribbean Championships for mountain racing and trail racing. They announced it's in Saskatchewan this year, which kind of sounded like a joke at first, because again, our prairie provinces here in Canada are super flat. The joke is that if you're driving in the highway in Saskatchewan, you can see all the way to the end because it's that straight and flat. So then I was like, okay, for real though, where is it in Saskatchewan? Because that's kind of disappointing for a mountain race.
There
But
is
it is
no
in a
mountains in
location.
Saskatchewan.
There's no mountains, but well, so it's in an area where the mountain racing is actually really interesting because the short course. I don't know if you know this, but just take a stab at what you think the short course would be
For mountain racing?
Trail racing. So trail racing and mountain racing are two different things. But so in the trail racing,
I would think a short course for trail would be 5K.
so the short course is 45K.
Okay, I was slightly off.
And the long course is 85K. So in the short course, it's 45 or 50. So and I think this one's 45. But so over the short course, trail race is still 2,300 meters of elevation. So I'm assuming it's going to be a lot more up and down, but it is in a location where there's going to be a fair amount of vertical. And that's the trail racing. And then the mountain racing, how it works is there's the classic uphill. So it's a vertical kilometer, and then the classic up and down. And so with Canada, there's an application process. You submit your application, and they look into you, and then they decide on the team that goes. So sometimes there's a race that selects people. So we did have a vertical kilometer last year. I think it was in Squamish and up and down. So they took the top two, but they're not super well attended. I think there was 3 women at our national championships. It's not really well publicized. And so anyways, this year, Lindsay Webster is actually on the team to run the classic up and down for the mountain racing championship. So they do typically combine the trail and the mountain racing championships. This was the one, John Elbin was in the trail race last year. It was in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So yeah, it's coming to Saskatchewan.
So the up and down the Lindsay's, and that's 1 kilometer up, 1 kilometer down.
I think it's 500 up, 500 down.
See, that's cool. Mind you, it doesn't strike me as Lindsay thing because it is shorter, right?
Well, and we're talking vertical though.
Yes. Oh, I know it's going to be.
So, like for example, yeah. So it's of vertical. So like the classic up, which is a vertical kilometer, it's about an hour. So it is short for her, but I think the 50K is probably a bit long. So
I'm thinking about it's funny that they can call their short course something that will take, it's longer than a marathon, and it's trail and it's elevation, so it's going to be over 3 hours.
Yeah, it's a 5 or 6 hour race.
This is your short course. That's very. Someone might want to come up with a better name.
I know.
But I do. I think that 1K, that or whatever, 500 up, 500 down. I think that sounds awesome. I would love to watch that, and I hope that we got to dig into it and see if there's some kind of stream, because I'd like to watch that. That would be definitely cool. And with Lindsay in it, that obviously will spark some attention for us and bring it over. So
yeah, so that's in September.
That's in September. Now, have you ever been to Saskatchewan?
Yes. So 1 year in university, the nationals was in Saskatoon, but like I haven't explored Saskatchewan in any way. I've seen the inside of a track.
Well, I went out there to work. I was out there working for about 3 months, and I loved it. Like Saskatchewan, I was in Regina, and Saskatchewan, the people were fantastic. The place is awesome. but yeah, it is flat, flat, flat. Like, and as far as I knew, the joke was you could watch your dog run away for 3 days. So like,
Yeah.
it was very flat. So I wonder. I mean, hats off to them for the creativity. I hope they make a good course out of it. And I think in a way it kind of is funny because it would be like having let's have the open water triathlon in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Like it's that kind
Yeah.
of logic, you know? So
Yeah.
I think
So
it'd be
they
pretty.
are piggybacking on a 50K that normally happens there. So I think it's already a tried and true course. So it makes a little bit of the organization of it a bit easier, I think. So I think that's why they chose one of the reasons that this location was chosen.
Why isn't Mick in this? Mick needs to get over there because I mean, it's right next to Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Jump over.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, maybe so you can still race the 50K, which is
Yeah.
its own thing also. But yeah, the selection process actually closed in February. So you kind of had to have your like nose to the ground about it. Because again, I feel like unless you really follow that scene, you might have missed it. So
By the way, side tangent with selection processes, because I've been getting quite a few questions. The Obstacle Sports Canada selection process, whatever, for the World Championships in Belgium. There will be an announcement really, really soon about how to apply and how to get it, and it will be an application process, just so you know. So, I mean, that's not official, but it is going to be that way. So, there'll be an application process you can fill out online, and you'll be able to submit your applications if you want to go to Belgium to compete in that race, both age group and elite. And there will be a 15K, a 3K, and a 100 meter. So, you know, just so that you know, there'll be more later. People have been asking. Um, did you? Oh, there were a couple of things I want to mention before. There's lots of high rock stuff, but Spartan finally announced no ultra championship this year.
yeah, I mean, this made sense. We have world's toughest.
Yes.
So yeah, completely logical choice.
Yeah.
However, why is there not a 50K championship?
Yeah. I mean, that's been the question for, and my hope is that this year, I mean, it's Spartan's not saying this, but it's quite obvious this year they're trying to redeem some money because, they're still trying to bounce back from COVID. They lost a ton. They lost their shirts on COVID, right? And so
Yeah.
it's taking time to bounce back. Hopefully they redeem some money this year. It does look like regular open wave stuff and everything is still getting good attendance. They're getting, yeah, the elite stuff has dropped off a cliff, but it didn't make any money anyway. So they are getting good open attendance, good age group attendance. So hopefully they're bouncing back. And then hopefully there will be a 50K Ultra Championships, which it should have been the whole freaking time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I really believe if they announced that for 2024, especially if they announced it early, a lot of the elites who were upset about the 3K would actually jump back on board and hop into that. Like I could totally see Ryan and Lindsay, 50K, world championship. Yeah, we're in for that. They'd be all on board. Um, so yeah, finally, I think so. I think we mentioned it briefly before. Like we've been because we were talking about Bear, we've been down on Spartan and kind of slagging them for this dropping off and everything like that. But a lot of it makes sense if you think about it from their perspective.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, I've been saying it before. Go ahead. So
Yeah, I think they have to recover costs somewhere, and Spartan really powered through COVID and took massive hits, still running races where they weren't really getting the numbers. And I mean, it's no shock to anybody that they're suffering. I mean, even the athlete payouts are just part of it. So they do have to find a way to recover costs. They can't keep operating in a deficit. So it's just kind of going to be how we have to ride it out then as OCR fans, and it might just look a little bit different and I don't really think it affects too many people. I think the elites are upset, but I mean, that's still a small percentage of the people who love Spartan and do Spartan anyways.
yeah, and I think that's the problem, right? Is if they were bringing in more money, then that would be like if the elite waves were causing more of a stir, we're putting in, and I'm going to not put the blame on the elites themselves. I still will put blame on that with Spartan for not presenting it as a sport as well as they possibly could. But
Mhm.
if that was bringing in more money and more sponsorship and more dollars that way, then it would make sense. But right now, it doesn't make sense, and so they've cut back. I still I still see, like I said, the dissolving of the team, I think makes sense moving forward. I do hope it comes back though. Like I want to see all our elites, all those people really enjoy watching come back, and I want to see good coverage of it and sit there and cheer. Um, I still would have liked to seen that 1K, 1K, 1K instead of the 3K though. I think that'd be
Mhm.
exciting. I think if they had done that, where they kept even if they cut all the prize money, cut the prize money right down, but kept the series and left it like it was, and then said, hey, on Friday we're doing this 1K, 1K, 1K thing as well, and winner gets $1,000. People would have ate it up, and you could
Mhm.
have filtered through open waivers, and it would have been great. But anyway, um, so that's good. It's good they're doing the 50K, or it's good. I think they will do the 50K championship in the following year. But
Mhm.
did you see though? And this one kind of hits home because, as you heard, I was going to do the ref gig. Um, what happened in Vegas?
Uh, no, I didn't hear any drama. Oh, I know, I didn't.
So a whole shit ton of people went off course because apparently the course was marked very, very poorly. And then they ended up like a lot of competitive age groupers, right? And then apparently, so they all got like 30-minute penalties for going off course, and that cost them their, everything and all that stuff. And I just said, and I commented on there, and I was thinking to myself, would have been a good spot to have a referee that checked this stuff out beforehand and dealt with these
Mhm.
situations rather than again lumping it on the race director and stuff like that. And that's why I still think, getting rid of Coble and not using the referees is still, if you're going to have any kind of competitive weight, even if it's just age group, that's something you need to have if you want to be
Yeah.
taken seriously as a sport. But I felt
Yeah, like
horrible for those
was
people.
this a mistake then of like was it just low staffing maybe and they didn't double check the course or
I mean, who's to say, right? Because Spartan's not going to out and say, "Oh, well, this is what happened." But reality is, if it's not marked well, that probably, in my mind, the first thing I'm going to say, having tried the build crew thing, is time is limited, and if your time's limited and your staff's limited, things don't get done as well as they do before. And I do know that as a routine, for example, Coble as a referee, the night before would go out and check all, check a lot of course markings. He would check. There would definitely any penalty loops being made, stuff like that. And that's just another thing that they've overloaded onto the race directors that they're not going to be able to keep up with. Those guys are incredibly busy. You can't. They're already overloaded before you give them that responsibility, and now you're giving them another one. So it
yeah.
didn't take long to point out the flaw.
Well, hopefully they learn from this and it, we don't have any more potentially issues with the course setup. So,
Yeah. Okay. So, and we'll talk Deka later with our guest. So we won't mention too much about Deka now. But High Rocks. So big weekend for High Rocks. Did you manage to take in it, or were you too busy?
well, I saw results. I watched the race in Knoxville, sort of, while I was running a retreat.
In Knoxville, sorry. No, that was not Knoxville. That was
Sorry,
the
Knoxville.
Deka.
That was Deka. Sorry, the one not
Dallas. Was it
Knoxville
Dallas or
with Vivian,
Houston?
Dallas.
The Texas one. Whatever. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
yeah,
Anyway, so yeah, so there, a couple interesting things. Rich Ryan snuck into the top 15. He's just in there.
yeah.
Um, fingers crossed he can hold on. He put on another great race on what I don't think was a particularly fast course.
No.
And again, he did made sure his lunges were good this time. He wasn't going to give those people who complained any room for his lunges were great, and he put in a good
Hmm.
race. Also, from there, our boy OFX Austin Azar came fourth and ran
Yeah.
like a 102
Hmm.
something, which is like a 4 minute improvement and really is bumping him up there. If he's running, if he gets his running, like his stations are dominant. If he gets his running down a little
Yeah.
bit more, holy cow, he could become a real player. And obviously, that was, we'll call that a Canadian record, the fastest high rocks by a Canadian so far.
I believe so.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Austin and Jesse Bruce are our two Canadians who've really contested it in that elite field.
Yeah, yeah. I admit I would like to see Ryan and Mick give it a try. I think they could do pretty well. But
Yeah.
yeah, Austin, like I checked the running times, and I think Rich's running time was like 27 something for his AK, and Austin's was like 32.
Yeah, that's about what I would expect though.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
if he could crank that up a bit and take away a couple more minutes, just if he specifically trained for that, I think he could get under the 60 mark and start
Mhm.
contending a little bit. And before we get to the big news in High Rocks, so I watched the women's one over in Barcelona, and it was a good
Mhm.
race. Rebecca Mason won it, put on a good run. Here's the problem: not a single solitary good rep on her wall balls,
Oh, really?
not a one. And everybody noticed, and it was terrible because she put in this fantastic effort, made a great run, and it's not her fault because she doesn't know. The ref didn't call any of them, but they were glaringly obvious. And it wasn't just her, a lot of the others were too. But I'm like, it just taints it. And it's like, this again, fix it, do something.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
and again, still nothing. Hopefully, I know Hyrox doesn't like to do anything mid-season. I can respect that and appreciate it, but I'm really hoping they do something drastic going into next year after Worlds to because they need to at least take some kind of swing at this because they have done nothing so far.
Mhm. Well,
And
I think they've just been more like the judging has been pretty firm though. At least the races that we've been at in North America anyways.
yeah, I mean, sort of.
Mhm.
It's I mean, you complain about the cheating going on right beside you beforehand.
Well, but again, I'm in a
Yeah,
team. Like
yeah.
we're not racing for prize money or anything. Like,
No, no, but it's still there, and
mhm.
it filters from one to the other. And I just watched it, and I felt so bad for her because she put on such a great effort, and now people are going to trash her, and it's not her fault. That one it falls on High Rocks, and they just need again use the bump stop. It'll just make everything better. There will be no controversy. It'll be
Yeah.
fantastic. The other thing that happened in that same race, Marcus Friesen, first ever High Rocks world champion, um, top notch athlete. You see, he went toe to toe with Hunter a couple times on some of those races. Was 9.5 minutes on his sled pull.
Whoa.
It just it was just stuck on the carpet, the sled, whatever. And again, this is an ongoing problem that happens again. Again, it happened to Cole Schwartz in LA that one time. He was like 9 minutes on his push. You can just get a bad lane. Even Rich said he had a bad lane in Dallas, or forgive me if I'm saying the wrong down in Texas. But these are they're two big issues they need to solve that can be solved now. I think the wall ball one is I say straightforward, put that bump stop in, but I don't know how they solve the sled one. I think these carpets they got are just not the right thing. Maybe they need to go to AstroTurf or something.
Yeah, and Austin had mentioned something about the carpet being really wavy too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, apparently, like I said, it caught Marcus Friesen bad because he is not. He's a top 1%er. He is not a 9 minute. I'm not a nine
No.
minute sled pull.
Yeah.
He's not a 9 minute sled pull. He should
Yeah.
be like a 3 minute, like a 2.5 minute over there. Like, and these are on the supposed
Yeah.
easier European sleds. This is something they need to do or have some kind of contingency plan for something along the way. Maybe that can be considered
Yeah.
equipment malfunction, failure, whatever the case may be, but they need to have some kind of setup for that. So,
Yeah. Even testing them or like give people the option to switch lanes if they notice they have a bad one.
yeah, there's work to be done.
I don't know. Yeah.
I that one it's tougher. Like I said, that one's a tougher one to fix. The lunges I think are the sorry the burpee broad jumps I think are the easier fix, and the lunges, you know, pretty they've been going pretty good on the lunges, but this one's harder. And you know, so hey, if you got ideas, send them to Mintra. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. Just flood her inbox with great ideas on how to fix it. The other thing I saw on the women's one, and I don't know if this is illegal or not, but to me, it looked like an injury. The second place woman, on all her lunges, on the one side, she would overstride and then slide her foot forward before she stood up. So, like her trailing, she would step down and then her trailing leg would slide forward and then she'd step up. And it just, I'm like, is that illegal? Is it not illegal? Is it an advantage? Is it not? I don't know.
Well, but the front foot's not moving.
No, the front foot didn't move. And that's why I think it's okay. I thought maybe she just had an injury of some
And
kind,
yeah, it's probably fine.
but some people had asked about it. And I was like, I don't know. But I had never seen it before. So,
Yeah, it's probably fine.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
there you go. I don't know if it's beneficial or not, but
yeah.
give it a try. We'll see. Um, and then the other two things happened in Dallas. In the women's, Vivian Tafuto with the win. We love Vivian. She's
Yes.
amazing. And
Mhm.
I think that puts her in the top 15.
She is 11th, and then Chris snuck in right behind her, and they're 11 and 12.
That's right. And we love them both. That's awesome to see. Um, it was so impressive. Vivian did a post.
She did make a post. So when we
This
were
is
in,
number 3.
yeah, when we were in Chicago, we were talking to her about her Instagram, and I was like, Vivian, you do such amazing things. You should post about it. And she's like, okay, when I do something kind of cool, I'll post about it. And then I saw she posted. I was like, yay! She she
Just put
acknowledged
under
she did something awesome.
put underneath. Vivian, you did a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. So it's good to see her. And Callie Ryker came third. She didn't qualify for the top 15, but again, just seeing Callie improve and remembering the flack she took for her wall balls and now seeing how much better they are. It's just she's such a sweetheart. She's such an amazing person. It's great to see. Like that might be the nicest podium ever. Like the most
Yeah.
pleasant podium that's ever happened.
Mhm.
So that's good. So big thing. Hunter McIntyre, dramatic return.
Yeah.
And did not disappoint. I mean, was it 54?
Oh,
It was
seven.
07. So low 54s.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a fast course,
Hmm.
but damn, like fast course, not fast course. That's just bloody
Yeah.
amazing.
Kind of stepped back for a little bit, did a couple other things, and then said he was coming back, and he did.
The biggest thing that impresses me when watching him is obviously his running for such a big guy is great, but those burpee broad jumps he does. And it's weird because he takes very short jumps, but he stays. You wouldn't think a guy that big would use the technique of staying so small on the
Hmm.
burpee broad jumps, but he does it and he does it so effectively. He
Hmm.
looked solid all the way through and was just, I mean, fan of him, not a fan of him, say you want. That guy is built for this game.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
he
like
is.
it's like they custom made it for. So obviously he's into the top 15 now and should be there no problem. But that makes it very exciting to see. I mean, him and now Kent's going to be there, and Ronkovic and Tobias. Hopefully, Tobias is in pressure because he's been a little bit off a couple times this year.
Hmm.
And hopefully Rich can hang on. Dylan is looking great. I think it's just going to be a fantastic race. I mean, yeah, Sandbatch, like
Well, and
those,
then we had Joffrey Voisin, who was also 56-40 in that same race with Hunter. So,
and that's what is my evidence to it being a very fast course.
mhm.
Because Joffrey Voisin, I mean, great athlete. He's a guy in the top 15, but he's never been close to that kind of time. He's more been like let's call him a 59 guy or whatever like that. Like he was, I believe he was in Chicago, was he not?
um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
he was in
remember.
Chicago. Yeah, I believe he was in
Mhm.
Chicago or the Euros, one or the other, and he was not contending for the win at all. And if he was a 56 there, he would have blown everybody's doors off. So
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, fast course. But I say even like let's say you put Hunter on that same course Rich ran, which was not a fast course. I still say Hunter probably runs a 57-ish something there. You know,
Hmm.
would still have given him the win.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing to see.
Well, I
Um,
mean, there was a reason he went to Barcelona and didn't stay here, right?
Why is it that the Spanish races are always fast?
I have
Especially if they
no
don't really
idea.
have great sleds either. Like, because I mean, if they had that much struggle with the sleds, I don't know, but it's always the Spanish races. Like there was that
Mhm.
Madrid one and it's this one, and it's always the Spanish races. I wonder if it's something to do with they are a franchise. They're not run by Hyrox head office. So
Mhm.
maybe their measuring tape doesn't work because they looked like they were short on the runs. Like
Oh,
there was
really?
fast running times, yeah.
Hmm. Oh,
So
yeah. I honestly, I have no idea.
no,
Not
uh,
anymore. I don't know. Now that well, they seem to have tried to figure out the sled thing, so I don't know.
who knows? The sled things. Well, I mean, we've said it before. We know how to fix it. We know how to fix everything. Like with the times, just make the times don't matter. It would be so much better.
Hmm.
Um, this weekend you are not going to Deka.
No, I'm racing a 30K.
You ready?
Nope. So this race I just kind of have a bone to pick with it. So it's more just my last experience was so bad. So I wanted to redo it. And I signed up for it long before there was ever any DECA races planned for the year. Yeah, it's a race that I put on my calendar to keep me doing higher mileage over the winter. But I just want to have a more positive experience than I did my first time. I'm not prepared. I mean, I haven't really been training specifically for a 30K road race. So I'm just going to kind of take it as it goes. So weather looks good. And traditionally, the weather at the around the bay 30K is usually atrocious. The last time I ran it, it was a bit of a snowstorm, which also kind of made it mildly miserable. So it is supposed to be a bit better this weekend. So I just want to have a good experience with it. So.
I think it's just an ego thing, and you want to run into the stadium and see your name on the big board.
Well, and this is the last year they're having people run into the stadium. So you got to
Really?
do it. Yeah, they're changing it
Why?
after this. I don't know.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
I Yeah, I think it's just becoming increasingly more difficult to have the roads shut down in certain areas. This year, they almost didn't even know if they'd have to completely reroute it because a bridge was under construction until like yesterday. So, I'm assuming it has something to do with road closures and the route. So they might need to change it a little bit more dramatically. I'm really not sure. I haven't heard. Mhm.
I remember you talking about that before. Actually, I'm surprised they got the bridge figured out.
Yeah,
I thought they would
I
have just
think
had
there
to
was a
make
lot of pressure.
would have
Yeah.
to make you guys a scaffold bridge, just tube and clamp over top, no problem.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Why don't they just make it an obstacle and we do rings across? That would be fantastic.
exactly. Oh, so I went to an obstacle gym. Went
Mhm.
to Pursuit in Toronto there with Ariel Fitzgerald. We went and we met her down there in Pursuit, and it had been a long time since I'd been to like an obstacle slash ninja gym. I am so freaking rusty. Like, oh my God. I did the salmon ladder and I did it, but it was sloppy and it was messy and it was not good. And
Mhm.
I actually, because I had been, been really focused on Deca and let other stuff slide. And my shoulders were burned out. Like they were feeling it. I was like, wow, this is so time to get back on the
Mhm.
horse and really put a little more focus
Yeah.
into it. I do want so I got the bug again, right? I'm like, okay, I want to do a fast OCR. I want to do a 3K or whatever, something somewhere. Um, like the potential ones are the 3K in the Spartan 3K in Pennsylvania. And sadly, I think it's on the same weekend as Dead End has a 3K in Quebec. I think they do. It is. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Poconos. Poconos is where the Spartan one is. So I'm filling out an application to see if I can get put on that, and maybe I'll do the Dead End one or but yeah, it's time. The weather's getting nicer. It's time to get back in the garage and start swinging around again. Maybe hit the
Mhm.
ninja competition beforehand just to work on some speed and stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
it was humbling. It was very humbling. I mean, I was a little disappointed and at the same time kind of giggling. But it was good fun, and it was good to see Ariel. Good to see Ariel out there. She's training hard. She's a little, she's got to focus her direction in somewhere too because Spartan gave her a bit of a
Yeah.
a bit of a her thing. But yeah, it'll be exciting to see. like it would be good to get out there and get one. I want to do it. And we've also come to a decision that, you know, like the Spartans races are not generally my cup of tea because I'm not much for the terrain. But I
Mhm.
think we're actually going to start doing some of the opens, Ryan and I together, and just have some fun and get back to the roots of what made it so much fun in the beginning,
Yeah.
where it was just fun and meeting people and having a good time. So we'll deal with that a bit and see if I
Mhm.
can find
That's a good
strategic,
idea.
strategic ones to race. Um,
Mhm.
but I am going to Deca this weekend,
Yeah.
and I need to shave like 12 seconds because like I'm
Mhm.
sitting 11th in age now, right on the
Mhm.
edge, in by 9 seconds over 12. And I don't see Bruce Jackson's name on that list yet, so he's going to jump in there
Mhm.
eventually, and he'll bump me down. So that means I'm realistically sitting 12. So, but I think if I shaved like 9 or 12 seconds off, that makes me 7. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a big jump for a
it's
couple seconds.
it is. So, but I mean, think about it realistically. So I'm going to need to save 1 to 2 seconds per station.
Yeah.
And I thought by doing this, and you can tell me if it's crazy, and I kind of felt this from when we did the mile together, is I'm just going to do each machine a little bit hot for about 20 seconds. Just go hard for 20 seconds and then set into that regular pace that I would normally do on that machine. And then just do everything else the same way. And I think that should buy me the time.
Like the beginning of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right at the
Or
beginning. So
yeah.
hammer for 15, 20 seconds, a little harder, not full hammer, but a little harder than normal.
Yeah.
And then settle into that regular, regular
Mhm.
pace that I would do and go from there. Because
On the bike also?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I might go a little less on the bike because like, you know, 20 seconds
It's
on the bike
really
is,
easy to blow up on the bike if you go too hard
yeah,
at the beginning.
it is. But
Mhm.
I think I can get a lot just on the rower.
Yeah.
Like I think my row time generally is about 150. And I think I can drop that to a 145 without straining too much. And the
Yeah.
skier, I could probably do the same from 155 to 150.
Mhm.
And like I said, the bike I did was 90 seconds on the last one. I think I can drop that to 80 seconds, you
Yeah.
know. But if I
Mhm.
do even if I just take off 2 seconds off each of them and then one
Mhm.
second off each station, I think again. So I believe I can get in the 13s this time,
Mhm.
but it won't be easy.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's these, we have a lot of Deca Strongs available now. So you can just experiment something and, take a chance. And if you blow up, you blow up, you'll have another chance.
That's kind of what I'm thinking on this one is if I overdo it
Yeah.
and overcook on the bike, so be it. And it was an
Yeah.
experiment, say. But so I'm gonna throw caution to the wind a little bit because I do generally race pretty cautious,
Yeah. You do.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm see if I can take that a little bit harder. Um,
Mhm.
so you will be missed, but we'll just have to win anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I
So
am
it's
I do have some Fit Farm girls going down though. So,
yes, yeah. They stole my spot. They bumped me, so they took my spot. So now I got to go earlier in the morning.
oh, yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, which I prefer. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're excited. So again, at SO Fitness in Georgetown, Ontario, sign up if you want, but you can't because it's sold out.
Mhm.
I'm
Which is
trying.
good. Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah.
It is good. So
Sold out
it's
events are good.
yes, we're very happy. Other than that, I wanted to ask you something. This is a very trainerish question. So everybody, like, especially listen to run in public, you hear them talk about compromised running and stuff, right?
Hmm.
So I've started doing, and I guess it's a little bit backwards. It's like compromised lifting, and nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
So in between my lifts, instead of like resting for 2 minutes, I get on the bike or the rower for like 2.5 minutes,
Hmm.
and it is killing me, but it really is working well.
Uh,
Like
so it's like the exact same thing, only the lift is the focus.
exactly. So
Yeah.
like I'll do like a set, like I'll say dumbbell bench, right? I'll do like a set of 10 and then jump off, and instead of resting, I hop on the fan bike and then I maintain about 250 watts for 2.5 minutes.
Hmm.
And then I do this for my whole workout. So in between, so
Hmm.
I'll likely do 5 different exercises, 4 sets of 10 on each one, and then the
Hmm.
bike in between all of it. And it's like it's an over hour long process, and it really you're burning like 1,000 calories easily.
Yeah. You could also try some like dynamic stuff there, adding some power to the movements, right? Like drop the weight, do the same movement with
Mhm.
explosiveness.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I guess like the movements could all be changed and stuff like that, right? But it was something I've been playing with, and I'm like, holy cow, it really like I am noticing a difference and feeling it. And for a guy like me who naturally carries a little more weight, it does help to burn a few more calories, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like
Get lean out.
that. What's that?
Get more lean.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm
You
not
feel
looking
like,
to
yeah.
be a skinny guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I am a guy who naturally carries himself a little heavy, and that I need to burn out that way, but still at the same time the lifting is needed. So I don't know. I'm playing with it. We'll see if it does anything useful or if it hurts or harms or whatever. But so far it's
Hmm.
felt really good.
Well, and different training things work for different people's physiology too. So it is good again to try something and just see how it works for you.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna keep playing with it. That's usually my Sunday thing. So
Hmm.
it's a long
Instead
effort,
of your
but
long run.
yeah, it's still my long run. Yeah, don't forget that. You know what? I've been running a little bit, but honestly, it's really hard on my knees. It really is. And I feel it. And now that I'm not really doing any longer runs as races, it seems to me that as long as I'm increasing my cardio, it should
Hmm.
translate just about as well. And I'm not doing a ton of
Yeah.
technical running either, right? So like if I was doing a lot of mountain running and technical running, that's different. I'd have to really practice that. But if I'm just need
Hmm.
to increase my cardio, I mean, it should carry over fairly well, and it has so far. I mean, we'll see how it goes when I do a little longer. But I mean, I'm not planning to race any hard running over 3K. And
Yeah.
even then, it's going to be broke up, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm finding it, a little bit hard on my body as I get older to log as many kilometers as I was before.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're getting aerobic in somewhere, and that would still be all in aerobic zones.
Yeah, I'm on that bike a lot. I'm on the rower a lot, and then I just divide it
Yeah.
and I'm on it. Yeah, so I am still running and yeah, doing some
Mhm.
aerobic and watching a lot of TV in the process. Awesome. All
Race
right. Well,
coverage.
yeah, I do watch a
Mhm.
lot of coverage. All right. Well, I think we're good. I think we're set. And again, we'll do the part I'm really bad at. And here's a guest, Nick Ryker. Cool. All right. Well, I was glad you messaged. I was like, saw you turning it up out there. I saw. So what? How many Deka Fits you done now this year? Two.
Yeah, just the first two. I've been able to go to both of them. So yeah, two.
Two. And where are you sitting on the leaderboard now?
Second overall behind Rylan.
That bastard. Actually, we talked to him just before or just after your last race, and it was good. We actually mentioned you there. It was good to see you kind of like back on track. But you looked like you were a little like the last time we saw you would have been back at Worlds, and it looked like you were a bit disheartened after that.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know, yeah. So what happened? We'll go. We might as well jump right in. What happened when
Oh, you're
you
going
got to
in? Oh
Worlds?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's just
cool.
go right into it.
Um, yeah,
So we went.
Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds. We
Worlds
went
was
to
really
Worlds.
tough. It
Yeah.
was it was really tough mentally, emotionally, physically. It was a really tough weekend for me. I had leading up to it, I thought my execution was perfect. I thought my training was going great. I was like in really great shape, like doing everything. I was just in really great shape. And then 2 weeks before Worlds, work asked me to go down. I work at a gym and we have multiple franchises. And they asked me to go down 2 weeks beforehand and work. We just opened up a facility and work 7 to 7, making like sales orientations all day for our gym that just opened up. So I did that for 2 weeks beforehand. I think that kind of hurt my fitness a little bit. But I didn't think it was anything big deal. And I went to Worlds and I just sucked. Oh my gosh, I just sucked so bad. I think I overextended myself pretty early, and then I try to catch back up, and then like all the emotions were running through my head during the race. I was like, God, I have so many friends back home watching. My girlfriend's watching. My girlfriend's family watching. My cousins are watching. Everybody's watching me just suck right now. Um, And it was, but and at the same time, like, I was so happy for my friend Rich, for Rylan, for Kent, for everybody for doing so awesome. And it's just like I didn't have it that day. And just like that year, like just like a year of almost like prepping for one thing, and it just didn't work out. And honestly, after the race, I was like, what is the point of this? Like 26, about to be 27. Like, I'm doing okay at this, but I'm obviously not going to be the best at this one day. That's what I was talking to myself. So why am I still doing this? Spending all this money, sacrificing all this time with my friends and with my girlfriend, and not working on my skills to be better at my job. Like, why am I doing all this if I'm just going to not be the best? And I had that thought through my head for like 48 to like 72 hours of just like, I'm done with all of this. And then eventually, you take days off of training, you let your body rest, you let your mind rest. And like, I sat down, I wrote out like, why do I do this? Because I just truly love competing, and I truly love training every day. And I'm willing to make sacrifices because it's what I love to do. So God, worlds did just suck, but I think it's still the best thing that could have happened for me for this year, is to do poorly there.
You guys can explain it, because I've actually had this discussion with Heather White before, and this is what I'm pretty sure is the difference between a guy like me and like high level athletes like yourselves. Is when I hear you guys say, if I'm not going to be the best, why am I doing this? What the hell is wrong with being like the sixth best person at something? Like, that just seems amazing to me, and I don't understand why. Like I said, I understand the drive to be the best, but at the same time, to not just be like, I am really damn good at this, and I'm going to make it hard for the people who are going to win. Like, that's the difference. Like, maybe you can explain to me the mindset of that.
Yeah, I don't know, and that is tricky because there is a mindset behind me. It's like, well, Nick, you're always going to be the second pack chasing. Like, I was that in high school. I was the best of my
Mhm.
team, but like, I was an average runner compared to the rest of the people in the state. In high school, I was that in college. I was like the fifth or sixth best runner on my cross country team, and like the third best 1500 and 800 on my team. I never even placed at a college track meet. So like, I shouldn't like have that mindset. Like, okay, if I'm not the best, like, this is nothing, because I've never really happened. But it's that drive that I've been chasing like since I was 14 years old running. Like, I've always wanted to be better than everybody, but by just not as talented. But I don't want to make that as an excuse, because maybe I'm just not training as hard as I can be. I think it's more of just the sacrifices you make, and not coming out as like being like a top three person in a sport. I don't know if that's, I think it is actually very selfish, because like nobody in my family is depending on me being like a top three person in a sport. It's just very selfish. Like, I don't want to be 80 or 90 years old one day and just be like, I could have done it and I just didn't do it. I think that's just, and there's nothing wrong with being like the second tier or second pack. Like, it's really hard to do that, but I still don't think like I've gave it my all to do that. So there's still that drive and that what if feeling behind it. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is like, how much you put into it and you take away from all these other things. So I think some of it too is the guilt where you said no to all these things for the sake of training. So you want to prove to people that those no's that you said to them were worth it. And when they, the fifth, sixth place isn't really what you feel like would have proved to them that was worth it for the sacrifices that you made. um yeah, I think I went through that a lot in college and a little and post collegiately, and then especially early in my years having kids. But I think one of the things that I realized over time was to um kind of release the value on the end goals and keep the value in the process. And we're people who we're driven to be driven, and the process is so much of who we are, and just always trying to see if we can be better, and stop trying to necessarily think that the only goal is to be the best. So just to absolutely fall in love with the grind, because I've stepped away from competitive sport because I kind of felt like that was my role after I became a mom. And same thing, because then the guilt was bigger. Like, if I'm going to sacrifice all this, I better be standing on podiums, or, making national teams, road racing around the track. And if I'm not, then so then I did step away for a little bit. And what I missed the most was just the discipline and the grind. And so I just kind of released myself of the outcome stuff and focus more on just like the process really is why we do this.
Now, when you went into Worlds, and correct me if I'm wrong, but mentally you were also probably a little bit off, because didn't you just get bumped out of the mile, or was it the strong just out of the?
I got bumped out of both of them the weekend before. I wasn't going there, even if I was in those. I wasn't going there to like, I have to podium those.
Yeah.
I was going there with the mindset it's all about the Deka Fit. Those two were just going to be really fun competing. It did suck getting bumped out the weekend right beforehand, because I traveled pretty far to get my qualifying time. Yeah, and I think the disappointment is that I know how fit I was, and I just try to run somebody else's race, and didn't let my fitness show. I didn't let I would have been perfectly fine getting 8th place if I PR'd and I ran, I think, my best race I possibly could have. I say this all the time, like, if Rich, Ryan, or Ken or anybody else are going to run 4-minute miles at a Deka Fit, or they didn't that day, but like, if somebody does that stuff, there's nothing I can do about it. I was just so upset that I let somebody else dictate how well I did. Is like that. Like, if I would have got last place even, but I ran a PR and I gave it everything I had, I would have walked away like super happy, super satisfied. But I didn't. I ran a minute and a half slower than my best, and I just didn't do it. I ran somebody else's race, and I just crashed. That was it. That's why I was so upset after it.
Yeah, you weren't the only one guilty of doing that race. That race went out so hot that everybody just followed, except Rich. Rich played it smart, and that was the most intelligent race I've ever seen Rich run, and he just did it flawlessly. All right, so all that's in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're on to this year, and you've come out very strong this year. You looked, like you say, you came second to Ryland there and had a good performance there. And then this last race basically was you and a NOS. If I'm not sorry, I'm going to get my races mixed up here.
NOS was in Austin.
NOS was with you, and so that was where you and NOS had second place for a while, and then you ran a smart race there, and came back.
Mm-hmm.
So was that in your mind through that race, going, don't race someone else's race, be smart, learn from your...
Yeah, I wasn't even planning on going to Deka Austin until like a couple of weeks before I found a cheap flight, and I was like, I'll go do it. And I'm still not in that great of shape. And I'm not in great shape, but let's just try a new theory. Let's go out super slow, super conservative, and let's attack every zone. Just because I knew I wasn't in great running shape. So I was like, I got to go really slow. And it's funny that I ran the same exact 5K split in Austin in February that I did at Deka Worlds in November. And the race went 100% better just because I paced it slow and I hammered my stations in that back half. That was my game plan going into it.
So then you came off that one, and then you're into, I guess, what would be your hometown race.
Kind of, yeah. I was 2.5 hours away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hometown for us. And you pretty much ran unopposed.
Yeah. Colin Steefer there, he's a really good crosser, really good high rocks athlete now, just not as much of a running background. And I didn't still run an amazing time there either. I even went out more conservative there because I wanted to do the stations very well. I accidentally hurt my left groin 3 days beforehand. I strained it pretty bad playing football at work. So I was like, I probably shouldn't have done the race. I was like, I still want to go because I'm committed to it, and it's only 2.5 hours away. I I was like, if I could just have a lead coming out of the ski erg, I could just shut it down, don't hurt my groin anymore, and come out of here with a W. And that's what I did.
So you got to be like one of the closest things to an OCR money leader so far this year, considering
I
nothing
kind of
else is
have to be.
paying.
I've made more money this year already than I did all of last year.
That's awesome. So now that's insane. That's set in. I mean, obviously your fit time is likely going to hold up to be a top 12 and you're good like that. So where do you go from here now? Like not just with Deka, like so obviously Deka, are you going to do some more tune-up events? Or are you going to wait till Worlds? What are you going to do with that? Maybe dabble in some relays and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah, so just stick with Deka for now. What's your plan for the rest of this year for Deka until Worlds?
Yeah, rest of this, I mean, I won't probably be able to make another Deka Fit till I might do the one in August in outside of Philly, but I'll for sure be the one down in Orlando. And plan is just do because I'm not racing a ton this year. I don't have a lot on my racing calendar. I'm trying to be smart finally with my budgeting and stuff. So I'm doing a lot more local races, doing just stuff I can easily travel to, trying to take my career a little more seriously with my work, build some more skills there. And yeah, so the plan is hopefully there's not much of a plan. There's going to be trying to get as fast as I can this spring, this summer, build up a lot of mileage, still do a lot of strength work. And then hopefully by the end of this year, I'm ready to go by Deka Worlds, which I guess is going to be, I mean, it's a long year, because it sounds like it might not be till last week in November or first week of December. So really long year. And I want to just see how good I can get at my Deka Strong. I'm going to try to get to a lot of Deka Strongs and then how fast I get it running. And hopefully it all comes together on race day at Deka Worlds. So it's not a big plan this year. It's not a lot of racing and a lot of training and just having fun.
So no Savage this year.
I'll be at Savage races I can drive to this year. I'll be at Savage, Georgia this coming up weekend. Unless I win it somehow, then I'll go do the rest, some other Savages, but I won't be traveling a ton for it. That would be probably my only Savage on the schedule.
Is it just me or is like traveling this year for racing more expensive than ever?
It's super expensive. Everything's expensive.
Like,
I mean, then you just gotta food's expensive, getting a food at restaurants or grocery stores. And then, I got to get somebody to watch my dog. So that's another expense. Cause my brother lived in Nashville, he moved away. So I don't have like a free babysitter. So I got to pay a rover like $50 to $80 a weekend to watch my dog. And then it's gas, or then it's plane tickets that are $300 round trip. And now it's, I don't really get any free entries anymore to anything. So now it's race entries. So it's a lot. It's becoming a lot. So that's why it's not as much racing this year.
Yeah, I think I've found the same thing too. We're driving. If we're not driving, we're not going except for probably Deka Worlds and possibly OCRWC, but that's only if someone helps out with the cost.
Right.
It's insane. Like everything has been so crazy for the prices. I don't know about you, but I got like some of the bills from the hotels from like Chicago and stuff like that. And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been looking a lot more local also, and just kind of what's drivable within the day and just kind of staying a little bit less on the travel there. But yeah, flight costs are it's like they've tripled since before COVID.
And our flights here are always worse than your guys. Like
It has to be. At least I live in Nashville that has Southwest as a hub here and go to a lot of places so I could find cheaper flights, but they still add up eventually.
No. Yeah, I've never understood the flight thing. So you're mostly all in for Deka. You're gonna do a bit of Savage, you're gonna do some local races. Spartan 3K if it's anywhere near you or no? Because you were thinking about that before, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I just not gonna be able to make any of them.
There's not enough and they're far away.
Yeah, far away on Friday nights.
Yeah.
That's more PTO. I can't really, because of my stomach disease, my ulcerative colitis, I can't race in the evenings like at a 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. I just can't. So that's no reason for me to even try it.
Oh, that's too bad. So then you're pretty much, like you say, committed in Deka.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of interested in your take because we've talked about this before. We often talk about how we're going to improve High Rocks, Deka, all that stuff. You got the Deka Fit I find is set up really well for qualifications. That's
Yeah.
great. But the argument could be made for the strong and the mile that maybe they need to adjust it. I'm just curious how you, and especially considering you got bumped on the last two last year,
Mhm.
how would you set this up so that maybe it's a little more fair or closer to as fair as the fit is?
I mean, I feel like you can adopt what CrossFit does for their quarterfinals and open, where you can submit a video into it. Then you got to be like, who's judging these videos then? Is it
Yeah.
just Yancey at his computer for 70 hours a week? I think there's going to be like, if it is, you got to have like a threshold time. Say like, you got to be at least like a sub 12:20 Deka strong, and make sure you videotape that, and then you can submit it in, and then it's like a finalize and see if it's judging that way, or like a sub 19 minutes Deka mile, and then you can submit that in, something like that. That's the only way I can see can fix it, because people in the Deka mile and Deka strong at Worlds they're beasts, they're savages, they're monsters. But every course is different. Like my Deka mile that I did was just like a great setup to get a lot of people through quickly, but not a great setup for a time wise. And I mean, my Deka mile would have got, I think it was fourth or fifth out of the age group wave into the elite wave. And then my Deka strong would have got me, I did an age group at Deka Worlds. My Deka strong would have got me seventh in the Deka strong elite. So I don't know. It's very tricky how gyms are set up and their standards and all that jazz. So I think a video submission, but like a threshold time in order to submit your video to it.
All right. I don't know if I've gone through this with you, Beth. Or you got to go. You go ahead. You go first, Beth.
Well, then in the video submission, at some point, it also has to show the proper measurements.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, distances for the farmer's carry in the tank.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of videos that don't look quite accurate, but that's all right. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So here's my thought, and I've tried to broach this with Yancey before. And one of the big reasons he says he doesn't want to change things is he doesn't want to take away the importance of the local gym events. And I think that's smart, because right now that's what's building this is crushing it. It's crushing. It's fantastic. So here's my thought, and it's kind of a part like what you said, Nick, from the CrossFit, but it's not a video thing. What I'm thinking they should do is for 2024, you up it from 12 to 15 for age groups and for the elite. Then you have 5 regional races. And in order to qualify, you qualify for your regional races at your local gym events. And the barrier for entry to qualify for the races can be lower, right? Obviously, you could have 100 people for each age group, whatever the case. You can make these very big events. And then you qualify for regionals. And then at your 5 regionals, the podium finishers from your 5 regionals in every category go on to be your world finalists. And then you have your 15 people and you're there. And then, so let's say, Nick, you're in the first, you're in the first regional and you win, you go to the next one. You can still go there. You can still race. But if you win again, that bumps down the next. So then it's 2, 3, 4 that goes through. So that's what I think should be done. And then it maintains the importance of the local gym events, because you still got to qualify to get to regionals.
What if you did 36 people and we had 3 heats of 12, and then they're just still seeded based on seed time? So the top 12 times are still the first heat, or 15. But then there's other heats, because at this point now we have so many Deka strongs and Deka miles. And so sometimes people's times might be a little bit slower, but in contention and in the same setup, they might still be, you're a top 6 when they're still seeded 20th. So what if we made the number bigger? It doesn't take long to get these people through a Deka strong or a Deka mile. So what if we opened it up and had like 3 heats in the championship race? And then it's a bit more like a time trial, but the top times are still in the first heat.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I like having everybody in that one race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, to me, I at the regionals, I'm all for it. You can have 30, 40, 100 people qualify for the regionals and fight it out there. It's just
the Bethany, the way you're saying it can almost work if those 3 heats were prelims, like at a track meet, like a multi-day track meet. If they wanted to, that's going to be a lot more money for Deka Fit to do multi-days, or maybe you could do the Deka Strong twice in one day, or the Deka Mile twice in one day. That would suck though. But you could do prelims that way, and 36 people qualify for the prelims, and then you take top 12 for a final. That would be really cool. But the multiple championship heats, I think that would just be unfair for some people not be able to. I don't know. I think that would just not. If like I like Dave, the final heat, just one heat will be a championship heat. Prelims will be cool though.
And you think from time restraints, right? So in Atlantic City when we were there, like we ran literally the last wave of the mile in the open, and it was like 7, 8 o'clock at night on the second day.
Right. Yeah.
And now, so if we bump that in, and now you got to remember too, this year they're going to put in mile and strong relays. So they're adding extra events to it. So it's theoretically going to be even a tighter fit for a competition. So that's why with all these extra things, I'd like to see the regionals and then go through that. Because if you put 5 regionals, and honestly, now considering you would have to put one overseas, kind of in Spain for Europe, because they are getting a thing going out there. So one in Europe, then you could put 3 in the States, 1 in Toronto. Not for any reason, just saying. But
you can sell that regional idea to gyms. I mean, you can, for them to make a profit for that day, especially if they're making a cut of that like they do. You can definitely sell that to them, because you're getting most likely a guaranteed this many people to your gym, and that registration fee, you get a profit share of it. So you can definitely sell that to a gym. And I don't know how many new members they would get out of that or anything like that, or retention or anything like that. But for a struggling gym that needs to make $5,000 on a Saturday or something, could definitely be possible.
Yeah. And I think what do you think of these? So Beth and I have done we kind of did the strong relay, we did the mile relay, and we're still sitting on top of the board, although someone took a good crack at us this week. They were off by about 15 seconds or so, but that was pretty tight. But what do you think of it, Nick? What do you think? Have you tried any of these relays yet?
Of the team for Deka Strong or Mile for the teams?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's super cool. I haven't watched much of it or seen much of it, but I'm sure it's just still just as hard, because you go even harder for it. So
it is so fast.
Yeah, I bet. I feel like it would have to be a very well organized setup for it to be run correctly.
Yeah. I think you pulled off a good job at your gym. I think we had a good setup there, and I think that's why we have a decent time. But it it went so fast, and the effort level, like I thought the effort level when you did the fit relay was high. But when you do the mile relay, it's redlined the whole time. Like I've never felt anything like that, but it was crazy. But I'm interested to see what happens now at Worlds with the division of focus on the high end people. Because I mean, obviously, if you were to take, Tara and Rich Ryan and put them as a Deka Mile relay together or Deka Fit relay together, whatever, they're going to do great. But they're going to have to divide their focus between certain things. Like if they're planning, especially Tara planning to do the fit, the strong, and the mile again, then how much relays can she do? So it'll be interesting to see even more so the split on the focus this year. Do you think anybody on the high end will pick a relay and just focus on that?
If they throw money at it.
Yeah.
If they throw money at it. If they don't throw money at it, I don't think any of them are, like, that's going to be their focus. They might do it for fun. Like David Magida and Mark Audette did the teams, and they won that, and they did it for fun, basically, to win something. But you didn't see a lot of the top people do it just because there wasn't any prize purse to it. And it was taken away from other competition that was a prize purse.
How much do you think that affects the prize purse? And I'm always interested in this, because really, realistically, it only affects a few people. How much do you guys, as elite athletes, even if you're maybe not in line to win the prize, how much does that dictate what event you're going to? Like, let's say, for example, for the Spartan 3K, let's say it wasn't $1,500 for the win. Let's say it was $5,000 for a win. How much does that affect your interest in going?
Quite a bit. Not as much for me, because it's gonna be really hard for me to win. I don't make a living on this. I will say it affects me not going to these Spartan races that are like only like 5 or 6 hours away that I can easily drive to, that, and I'm not gonna get prize money on. Like, I'm not gonna do any of those races anymore. I'll do the Nashville Spartan race because it's 30 minutes down the street and there's no prize purse to it, but I don't lose any money basically to it. The 3K kind of loses me when there's not deep payments, especially for a 3K when anything can kind of happen. That's where it kind of loses me on it. If it was even in the timing of it, if it was a Saturday morning and it was that prize purse or something, I still kind of would want to go to it. But and there's just so much you have to throw into it, like prelims for a 3K, like, and it's still $1,500. That's still good money for a day of work. That's still a lot of good money for a day of work. But prelims for a 3K, which are 1K, so you're doing 3 races in a day. You have I don't know how many laser pistol shots when you can't practice a laser pistol. There's cuts, which is fine with me, but there's so many different factors into just going to a 3K race on a Friday. Like, okay, I'm losing basically a day and a half of work. Will I make this up? Even if I don't make it up, I still love racing and I go to see my friends as well. But for the top people, it's just a lot to consider into it.
I still say they made a mistake and it should be 3 1K races instead of a 3K at the end.
Right.
Just 1K, 1K, and a 1K final. That would be so fast, so exciting. And then you could filter open waivers through that course as well, because you wouldn't be waiting for multi-loop people. You could make more money that way. So, anyway, nobody asked.
Yeah. What do you know?
They never do. Since we're there, what do you think about Spartan now? Like, is the elite wave, is it like on the edge? Is it going down? Like, well, obviously it's dropped off, it's dropping down, but is it going to survive?
I don't know. There's still going to be people going to elite waves of every Spartan race, no matter what. I mean, you just saw I look at results every weekend because I want to see who's racing. I do. I'm a race junkie. And I think, Las Vegas this past weekend had 20 to 40 people in the elite wave combined. So that's good numbers. I'm really interested to see who shows up to this first 3K. I know people, maybe like I can count on 2 hands, maybe like 10-ish people that are for sure going. I think we'll just have to wait and see that after this first race, what people really want to do. I know I didn't get an invite to do it. I guess I would have to submit an application to go do it. I know some people got automatically invited to it. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to look.
So some people have gotten some invites, because I wasn't clear of some. Okay, good. I'm glad, because I was like, it's getting close and I'm not hearing people saying I'm going or I've gotten an invite or anything. And I'm like, I hope they've sent out some at least.
Yeah. And I know I have a friend that he just got on his first elite podium. His name's Micah Dofter, and he's going down there to just do the Palm Spring sprints, but he's gonna take a day early to do it. And he's gonna right there like elite. It's like this is his first year doing elite. He just submitted an application and he got right in. So I guess you could just always do that.
Yeah, I'm actually putting mine in because I figure if they're desperate,
sure you get
it, right?
I'm sure you'll get it.
Yeah, I'll pull some strings. I mean, why not, right? We're still kind of rocked because we lost ours, because we were supposed to have one and now it got taken away, and nobody really knows why, but it is what it is. All right. So you said you are going to the Savage.
Yeah.
Has that become the draw now for the elite obstacle racers? Is the Savage now more of a draw than the Spartan elite race?
I think it does, if it still makes financial sense for you to do. Like, you got to still put in all those factors for it. I think Savage is just winning where they have an amazing staff and amazing people going to the race, and they're doing just really awesome things for it. I kind of hate some of their new obstacles they're going to have this year. They're pretty gimmicky, but they also made some obstacles that it looks like they're going to be a lot of fun, and they get to show off the athleticism and your fitness. Some are not, and they're really good at taking feedback, and they might change, and they're really good at being stubborn and saying we can do whatever we want because we can. I think, I don't know if this year is going to draw any more people to it. I think it will draw a couple, but I don't think it's going to be like the waves of like a national series for a Spartan race. I just don't think it's there yet, just because it is still some of those gimmicky stuff that Savage has, which does make them special, but also at the same time, it's some people don't want to do it that way. So, but I'm super fired up. I don't love some of the new obstacles that I'm gonna have to be doing on Saturday, but I love Savage racing. I love their people, so I'm fired up to race it.
Yeah, it's still going to be good racing. And they, like you say, they put on a good program. Yeah, some of those obstacles are, I mean,
But the brick one, it's kind of
yeah,
it's really dumb. And then their net one where like you get tangled in it.
it twist one way, twist the other way.
Stuck in there for days, probably.
Wasn't the brick one we said this like a party game you play at a kid's party or something?
Yeah. I'm gonna find some bricks around this HOA that I live at and go practice it or something before I go down there.
I don't know, it'll still be great. It'll still be good, and I think it's going to be streamed, which is great, so we can watch it. I look forward to that. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to this year that you got going on race wise, or is it just no high rocks this year?
I really want to do a higher. I was supposed to do Houston. I was all geared up for it. I've been battling. I haven't really told anybody. I've been battling a shoulder injury. I did this thing called the Nashville Fit Games, which are super awesome and a lot of fun.
Yes.
And it pushed me really hard, but I hurt my shoulder pretty bad. And that was a week before Houston. It was the first event out of 5. It was basically every 4 minutes you did a round of 15 dumbbell push presses. No, excuse me. You did 15 calories on the assault bike, 15 dumbbell push presses at 50 pounds, and then 20 meters of walking lunges with the 50-pound dumbbells. And on my 4th round, so my right shoulder just like buckled, like something felt like it popped, and then my dumbbell just fell like right on my arm, like right on my shoulder. And that's the only time I had to break that entire workout because it's like, okay, I just like had a 50-pound dumbbell fall on my shoulder. And ever since then, like pushing, like doing a burpee or like pulling, like a skier got Deka Fit hurt it really bad. The rowing kind of hurt it. So I was like, I wasn't in great shape to do high rocks for Houston, so I wasn't going to go down there and just hurt it even more. I really want to do a high rocks. I feel like I get a lot of people in the high rocks and Deka Fit world, kind of like the guys that I race with. They're all my buddies. They're just giving me a lot of crap because I haven't done one. I think I would be decent at it. And I really want to do it. It just hasn't lined up with my schedule or my training schedule for it so far.
So that Nashville or that was it Nashville games? That games.
Yeah.
How many CrossFit or mayhem type athletes did you get out there, and did you get the kind of, because you did very well?
Yeah, I mean there was probably only one that the guy who won that he's a very very high level CrossFit. He's gotten last year. His name's Hal Fisher. He got 15th at his semifinal for CrossFit last year, which is pretty impressive. I mean, I know that's not even top 10, and top 10 it's kind of like gets the highlight, but still, I mean, that's the 1% of the 1% still.
Yeah.
And he said like some of those workouts it's just a matter of like they program a different little style that he probably gets in, he thinks. So he's a beast. So yeah, that was very intimidating just because I trained really hard for it and I still showed up. I was like, I am so tiny compared to all these people. And there was a lot of strength movements to it, but my cardio, my engine, it won out by the end of the day.
Are you gonna jump in on the battle bunker thing, on the virtual thing for that?
I want to, like I said, like the one event, the thrusters, like my shoulder still like is not 100% how I want it to be. Like, and like doing obstacles at Savage, like I've been hanging on stuff and I've been like practicing my monkey bars and it feels fine, but it's that pushing motion of like stuff going over my head where I have to physically push something. That's where it's been like it's just iffy. And if Battle Bunker was maybe like a month later, I think I can do it, but I don't know. I'm still going to do the workouts and we'll figure it out, I guess.
Because it's like a throwback to COVID now. We got like 2 virtual events coming on, because you got that and then the Grit Games one.
Yeah.
And I looked at the Grit Games one and it looks kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the weights are very specific and a little bit different than like a lot of people I would think have in their household. Like it isn't like
what are you talking about, the virtual competition?
Yeah.
I haven't seen what are you
I think they're like 55.3 or whatever, because I think they're kilogram based kettlebells.
Kgs? Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh man, because I know I don't have those weights, and I'm looking at even in the open division, I didn't have those weights. So I'm like, some of the workouts look pretty cool and fun. You know, there's a straight 5K, there's a straight dead hang, but then there's a couple of different workouts that look like they're a good
There's
time. But
a 1 mile farmer's carry, and every time you break, you do 10 burpees.
Yeah, that's a lot.
it's a lot, but
That's a terrible workout. It takes
Yeah.
way longer than people think that it's going to take.
That'll take like a half an hour, maybe more.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
thing about it too is who's going to be watching these videos, because like you're going to have to video that whole thing, right? So whether you're doing it on
Yeah.
a track or by GPS or whatever, you're going to have to video that whole damn thing, because you know you got to judge the burpees, you got to see how often it's going to be it's an undertaking. I'm glad they're doing it, and it's fun, but I don't know how well it's going to work.
It's a virtual comp for like prizes, or is it just?
Yeah, I think there is cash prize for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so the pro heat has prize money.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So they got to be serious, and they look like they've got a great games going on as well. Just like the actual games they've got some great games, especially for the men. The women are starting to fill in a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to go. I got invited, and I saw the dates, but I'm in a wedding that day, so not gonna be able to make it.
See, Nick, if you want to really be the best, you got to ditch all these things like friends and family and stuff. They're not
really
important.
growing up. I'm really growing up. I'm getting to that age where I'm in, like next year, I'm in like 3 or 4 weddings. It's ridiculous.
Oh, see, you'll get to the point where you're like me and nobody gets married at your age. And if they do, it's like their second wedding and nobody goes. It's just to leave it be. Well, that's awesome, man. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you out there. Do you got anything else for Nick today, Beth?
No, I don't. Thanks so much, Nick, for coming on, and congrats again on your performances and your Deka Fits, and all the best with the rest of your season. And we look forward to seeing you at the World Championships.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's been awesome.